All right, we'll start the meeting. I'll leave the attendance on Lori's desk. All right, public comments. Seeing none, move to approval of the minutes of September 18th.
Move approval as presented.
Thank you, Scott. Second, Lori? Thank you, Lori. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, moving right along. Project update status, Ryan.
All right, so I got two updates. The dog park expansion. So the fence has been completed. We're still working on the water line with Public Works and all the additional amenities that are going in there. We're hoping to get those done before the snow flies. The water main parts have been ordered, and the rest of the equipment is here. We're just waiting on those water parts. And then the Gaga Ball pit out at Lions Park, that was part of an Eagle Scout project done by Caden Kotecki. That was completed on October 5th. It's actually really, really cool. If you haven't seen it, go down to Lions Park. It's right behind the library and check it out. He does have a little bit of funds left over, and we discussed possibly doing some landscaping around that pit to just help increase the aesthetic of it, as well as it'll make mowing a little bit easier. I did talk to Kevin from Harvard Nursery. He's going to work on some pricing options for that. And then I did order some of the balls to use for that game in that pit, and hopefully they should be here this week, and then they will actually be available at the library for people to check out. And then with that, a library card won't actually be needed to check those out, just some sort of ID. So that's what we got going on for projects.
I saw one of those in Rockford, I think.
Yeah, they're actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
It is.
yeah, I drove by, I'm like, wait a minute, I know what that is.
Yeah, when I was out there helping them put it together and everything, and you know, the bottom part, making sure everything's square, takes the longest, and then as soon as you get that bottom row done, then it's just like doop, 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 doop. And I think we finished up about like 1:30ish, started at about 9.
Looks pretty cool.
We're in there.
Any questions for Ryan? All right, programs and events, Ryan.
There's a lot going on. Kind of a list of all the programs that are active right now are in your packet. So we're currently working on some different programs, more than what's in your packet. I'm working with trying to get a yoga program, a potential cooking program, as well as English as a second language program. So the ESL program, that one's the closest to being completed right now. Our goal is to have that one start up in January. Kind of a little rundown with that one is I had a resident reach out to me that she used to do an ESL program in the past, and it was more of like a coffee club style program, and you know, I kind of put a tweak on it, trying to figure out a way to get as many participants as we possibly can with that. So it's going to be about an 8-week session we're looking, and it's going to have a different organization each and every week to do kind of like a 10 to 30 minute presentation on what they offer. So we're going to be doing like a building inspection or building and zoning one, as well as code enforcement, senior services. I'm trying to get community health partnership, just a bunch of different organizations to participate, to where residents can ask questions as well as understand and learn about the services that are available for them within our community. And that'll all be done in English. So that one's pretty cool and exciting, and I'm hoping to have something finalized within the next 4 weeks. That's my goal. Yeah, it'll all be a program run under the Parks Department.
But what you just explained, the ordinances and all the other, you're going to discuss, that's not the same as ESL. That's not going to go into that, or it is?
Yeah, so what it is it's going to be each one of those organizations is going to give a short presentation to the ESL participants, to where then, no, it'll be in English because it's English as a second language. So then they'll be able to, so how this program is designed, it's for people who are semi-fluent in English and are looking to hone their skills within that English. So it's not just for Spanish only speaking. It's a program that she's ran in the past through MCC, and she was looking to, she's a Harvard resident, wants to expand it into Harvard. Yeah,
Yeah, I was gonna ask, because I thought MCC provided an ESL class here in town.
used to.
Used to, okay. My bad.
So it's kind of putting a different little spin on it, just to kind of, allow the residents to ask questions, as well as perfect their English skills, as well as learn about stuff that they might not know is available. Our goal is to shoot that first or second week in January to start it off, yeah. Yeah, we're still, right now, it's when we're trying to get 6 different organizations involved in it, so it's just a scheduling thing that we're trying to figure out right now, so. So I'm meeting with another resident, excuse me, on Thursday to start discussing bringing yoga into town, as well as a potential cooking class, but that's just been email correspondence so far. So our eggnog jog is live. We're still working hard on promoting that, as well as sponsorships for that. The first AED CPR class, registration closed on Friday. We only had 4 registered for that. 6 was the minimum that was needed, but we're going to be running it anyway. So, and then
I'm sorry, what are you looking for sponsorship for
the eggnog jog, it's just any sort of sponsorship to help. Yep. We have different tiered system. I can email you that. You should have gotten it. I'm pretty sure you're in constant contact. I'll have to look. I'm pretty sure all the aldermen are in there, but I'll double check that and I'll send it to you. So, where was I at? All of our programs and events, we've been working, distributing through Facebook, the city sign, city website, constant contact. We have flyers available at the library, as well as some of the local businesses here in town. And then obviously, once we post something on Facebook, it just gets shared quite a bit, so that's good. Kind of a little where we're at numbers wise with that. So constant contact, all the programs and events that we've sent out in the last 32 days, I think, just shy of 19,000 sends with 9,500 opens and 530 clicks. So the constant contact Facebook post that we just did, what I'm trying to do with that is I can link the parks page to the constant contact, so as soon as something goes out via email, it automatically posts on Facebook as well. So that one reached 361 with 6 engagements. All of our Facebook posts since September 11th, we've reached, our Facebook posts for program and event related stuff has reached just over 21,000 with just over 2,200 post engagements. And then currently for our run sign up for the eggnog jog, we've had 100 page views with about 9 signups. So it's kind of where we're at with the programs. We're getting the word out there and doing our darndest to.
Are you gonna need some help manning the eggnog jog?
Yeah, we're gonna set up another meeting. Donovan's out this week, and so as soon as he's back, he's been helping me with that. We're gonna set up another meeting to try and figure out exactly what we're gonna need for volunteers.
Okay, I can see if we can get some Park Foundation members to help out.
All right, any questions for Ryan? Seeing none, Rebuild Illinois grant.
Nothing to report.
Nothing to report.
Hurry up and wait.
Just wait. Okay, community garden update.
So at last month's meeting, I informed you that I received that phone call from Karen asking about the status of the community garden. Looking to see what we were planning on to do with that, whether it was community garden, individual plots. They're still looking to utilize their seed library. They're just kind of looking for kind of some direction as to what's going to be happening with that. The topic, like I said, was discussed at last month's meeting, but no direction or action was taken on how we would like to proceed with that area. I did include the survey results in your packet, as well as an email from Alderwoman Hatterline about the garden as well.
So my question is, if she has a friend that helped start this, is it someone maybe that we want to talk to, that we want to invite to a meeting to see, what information that they might have? Or at least Ryan, if you reach out to, ask Lisa who that person is and, what exactly they did in Woodstock. I wonder who's in charge of the community garden over there.
Yeah, I'm not sure who's in charge of that over there.
So, I mean, if you want, I can reach back out to Lisa and ask her to provide that contact information, then you can work with that person, or at least discuss it with them. And maybe Lisa might have some ideas too, so. Okay,
Yeah, we're gonna have to, really try and narrow this down relatively quickly because,
Yeah.
I mean, next meeting's November, and people are gonna start wanting to plant, April-ish.
Hmm.
So, by the time we figure out what the actual rules or whatever we decide to do with it, so.
well, I'll shoot Lisa an email tonight, see if I can talk to her right away, and we can go from there. Questions on that? All right, Milky Way Park soccer fields.
So, I was asked to bring a soccer tournament to Milky Way in 2024. So this one's kind of a long one, so just bear with me. So I had a meeting last week with the Harvard Men's Soccer League to see if they would help assist me with this event. So we had about an hour-long discussion about what it would take, as well as any upgrades that would need to happen in order to bring a high-level competitive tournament to Milky Way. So one of the questions that I asked was about the conditions of the fields and if what is currently played on is sufficient to have teams want to return the second year of the tournament. So the response that I got from both Nick and Jose was no. The current areas where soccer is held is not tournament play conditions. So in addition to the fields needing works, the Parks Department doesn't have equipment required for the tournament. The soccer organizations that utilize the park have about half of the equipment that we would need. So kind of big picture with this, both Nick and Jose, and as well as myself, feel the weekend tournament with the appropriate upgrades and equipment could bring 24 teams on 4 fields with a 3 to 4 game guaranteed per team. And that would not include final play as well. So I met with Kevin from Harvard Nursery, and that's completely out of the scope of the work that he does. So then I met with Kyle from the Langton group out of Woodstock with Rob as well. He was there. So to get the areas needed to have 4 fields available by June at the earliest, they would need to come in with dirt and level all of the low spots out, which would be around 8 acres of land. They would then reseed with a different grass blend. So that's just one way to do it, but it's not necessarily the right or the wrong way to do it either. Like in a perfect scenario, we would grade the entire area flat, 1 degree pitch from the out, or 1 degree pitch out from the center of each field for drainage purposes. And then ideally you would go full irrigation, but that's just, then you're dealing with engineers and a whole bunch of stuff that I don't think it's
A lot of
something
money.
yeah. So then Kyle gave me a shot out of a cannon price is what he referred to it. So for around 8 acres of land, which would fit 4 full-size men's soccer fields, north, south, and east and west, so they can be rotated. Each men's field is about 2 acres. So that price would somewhere be in the $60,000 to $70,000 range. So the equipment needed for 4 fields would run around 25 grand on the low end and 50 on the high end. That would include 4 sets of goals, corner flags, field painting equipment, and the competition soccer balls needed. Currently, there are 2 sets of full-size goals at Milky Way, get rid of that, that are owned by the Harvard Junior Hornets soccer program. So I'm currently working on a full estimated expenses and revenue with a wide range of variables for the entire program, or for the entire tournament. If we did absolutely nothing, there is only enough space to fit 2 full-size fields.
You mean good condition fields, correct?
No.
What do you mean by that?
So when you're looking at Milky Way Park from like an aerial overhead.
Let's do that. So I guess one of the questions I have is, so the fields currently are in good enough to play on now.
For rec play. When you're talking
Not for tournament play.
when you're talking teams that are paying $2,000 a tournament,
And that's what the cost is, Ryan, $2,000?
for tournament play, some of them are even more. So, 2 fields can fit right in here, which this is where they're currently playing right now anyway, this side and then up there. You can fit 2 fields over in this area. The issue with this is there's a little drainage line that runs right through here. And this is like slopes up and then back down. And it's pretty darn hilly over here to where it's not really, soccer field quality. It could go up here as well. They do play up here. The issue with that is depending on when the tournament is, that takes about 8 weeks to bounce back after milk days.
Well, then you would have milk days direct that field if you put money into it too. I mean,
So for 8 acres, it would be this and this.
Is there a,
What else is that area of the park used for? Anything?
Soccer.
It's not used for parking overflow or any of that? Okay. I'm just thinking if it were used for parking, that's gonna destroy the fields.
Yeah. So there's the high spot here. There's a low spot that runs right through here. I mean, if you go out and look at it, you can visibly see it. I mean, it's pretty pronounced. And then all this back here, which this is all high spot back here, it's all old dirt that is grassed over. But from here to here is 130 yards. Competition soccer field's 120.
So it just fits.
Yep. And it's enough to fit 2. Here, here.
I have a question for you. Assuming that you were able to do competition tournaments at the value that you stated, could those tournaments help pay the cost of putting this in over time?
Over time, yes.
I recognize not up front.
Yes.
Yeah, we'd have to upfront the money.
Yeah. And that's the thing.
But what I'm asking is, if you ran the tournaments, it could pay for the
Correct.
infrastructure you need to put in to run the tournaments. But it would take a while, I don't know how many years, might be worth trying to figure that out, but could you run 2 tournaments a year?
Well, it seems like it's gonna be about $100,000 worth of investment, correct, according to the
50 or
well,
Kind of a rough number, this isn't final by any means, with what I've kind of put together.
Equipment.
In order to run the tournament with all the equipment needed, with paying officials, it's about 134 with, that's if it's based off of a $70,000 field upgrade with the equipment. Give
So
or
you're-
take.
To be a little more conservative, if we say 150 to investment to have everything ready, and you say 2,000 per team,
is it really that high, 2,000?
and how many teams were you saying?
Get 24.
For competitive tournaments?
So you got it, just using that number alone, it'd take about 3 years.
Well, that's without paying officials
Yeah,
or
yeah.
anything.
Right,
And there's
Right.
prize money, so some of that money
Yeah.
gets put back,
yeah,
I mean, the point of
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
the
yeah,
tournament
yeah,
is to
yeah.
win the prize money, right? So
yeah.
And the biggest thing is, I think having a tournament out there would be absolutely phenomenal. I would love to see that park utilized to the full potential, but I want to make sure that we do it right to where people want to come back.
Yeah. Well, I like your comment about would they come back a second year?
Yep.
That's the important part.
Well, it's a great location. I mean, you got parking there everywhere. It's a lot of money, though.
Upgrade the bathrooms too.
yes,
Yeah, that's the
there,
other problem.
there's a plan to try and do that.
No, I know, but separately.
Well, I mean, Ryan and I've already talked about this. I love the idea. I do not love the idea of doing it until we're ready. And I think that because I believe, Mike, you and Lou are the ones asking Ryan for this. I think that if the city wants this, then they have to be willing to invest the money up front to make it work. Make the fields the way they should be. Make sure everything's right to do it right. Make sure, I know you talked to Hugo Roldan, you said
Yeah, I emailed.
2019, and he said it's an 18-month prep.
Yeah, when me and Hugo originally talked about it, it was either 2018, 2019. He said it would take about 18 months to get it fully off the ground. And he goes, a lot of the club organizations that are willing to pay that number to come and play already have their schedule set in a year in advance for the most part.
So I think doing it for 2024 and trying to rush it is a mistake, but saying, well, let's make this happen for 2025, and then let's go to, because obviously we don't have that type of funds in the park budget. If the city, if the aldermen want to vote to allocate those funds and then repay it back in, sorry, guys, and want to pay it back in, then we do it there. You know, that's the only way that this gets done, if we're going to do it right. Because I don't think you run the tournament, then take that money to fix the fields, because you won't be able to run it
No.
again.
Right.
People won't come back. It'll be.
Well, you want to do it right. It's got to be like
You wanna do
Ryan
it
said.
right.
It's
You're
gotta
gonna
be
have
done
to
right.
have the fields ready for the
Yeah.
tournament
Yes.
before.
And I think it's a great idea. I think it's a really good idea. I mean, we already saw with the men's tournament, season out there, you know.
Yeah.
I think it's a great idea also, but to Ryan's point, it's got to be perfect. The fields have to be perfect, the bathrooms have to be upgraded so that we can lure them back and, year after year. Otherwise, we're going to be wasting money.
And it would be no different if we held a softball tournament out there.
Yep.
Or if it was a baseball tournament or football, whatever it might be. I mean, at the end of the day, that was a cornfield that got grass laid over it.
Yeah.
I mean, really, that's what it was. And
Ryan, do you know what other soccer tournaments are in the area?
Oh, they're everywhere. I mean, there's a lot of clubs that play out of, Lake and Cook County as well as Winnebago County. It's just they're traveling for it. I mean, most of them are.
I guess my question is, are there enough teams willing to participate in a tournament that aren't already in a tournament? In other words, are we going to be siphoning just part of some other tournaments, or?
No, I mean, there is teams. Nick is confident that there are plenty of teams out there that would come out this way to play
What's the lure of winning too? Like the mayor said, getting the money, right? It's a prize. There's a prize at the end. They're going to come.
And what I will suggest is if the board is considering doing this, part of the issue would be hit the top. There you go, thank you.
Thank you.
One of the things that, the board might consider and city council may consider approving would be alcohol sales during these events where you could generate revenue to put back into the parks. But I would also say, given if that does happen, then there should also be security because it tends to be, you add alcohol and competition, and so I think you would need security. But I think there's an opportunity here to, if we decide to go this route, that eventually it will pay itself back and then actually generate additional revenue for the parks, for other parts within the Parks and Rec department, after you pay off whatever the investment will be.
Food trucks. You can have food trucks out
I
there.
agree with you, Mayor, and I think there's enough interest in Harvard. I think you can get 8 or 9 teams just in Harvard alone for this.
Oh, yeah.
Easily.
If not more.
The other thing to take into consideration is an event and a tournament this size, it's more than one person needed in order to help run it. And it's really more than 3. Especially if we're obviously summer is the month that we would need to do it. There's 1,000 things and a half going on in the summer. And it's putting together a good team in order to make sure it's as successful.
Oh, yeah, you're going to need help. You're going to need a lot of help to run something like this.
Well, it's also your prime busy time with the pool and the rest of the parks.
I'm busy
So,
with everything.
yeah. So, I mean, yes, you would be highly involved, but, you know, you only have so many hours in the day.
Well, I would anticipate if we go down this road for that tournament, you would hire part-time help to help manage it.
Yeah, you would have to.
We would have to. That was more just an update on my end, kind of what's happening, kind of the flow of everything, and kind of the thought process behind everything. So,
I just think we'd have to put together a proposal for city council to consider. I mean, that's an outlay of money up front to ensure that it goes off right. Because you absolutely do not want to do it unless we are confident that it will be successful, that, you know. And if it is, I mean, it's a great area for it, it really is.
I think it will pay for itself eventually. I
Oh,
see a
yeah.
lot of potential with liquor sales, with food sales, they could be a big moneymaker.
and there might even be potential to where it's a bunch of tournaments that we don't even host or we don't even run. You know, it's just somebody looking for,
A place.
Yeah.
Yes.
Where you just rent the fields
Yes.
and let them run their own tournament. They just pay
Yep.
fees to
And you're
utilize the
thinking
field.
like adult tournaments or kid tournaments also, anything, right?
adults would be, that, the adults obviously are the bigger of the,
Yeah.
you know, but kids tournaments are huge too. Kids tournaments don't need as much space just because they play on smaller fields. But I think if you're gonna do it, you need to do it with the thought process of having 4 full-size fields.
You could make a full-size field and then chalk for a smaller one.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And probably you could fit, like a U10 field, you could probably fit 6 U10 fields within that area. So,
That's a great opportunity for us to fix up those bathrooms too, and, you know, maybe put a shelter over between the, you know, like, because I know David had originally a shelter planned for right where those trees are, you know?
I would like to get rid of those, but,
Well, yeah, we can just put a shelter there.
well, if you clear those trees out.
Yeah.
I mean, you can add another full-size soccer field there.
In the middle?
Because from where, you can see where the soccer field is, you know,
Yeah.
on the left
Oh, yeah,
side.
yeah, yep.
To where if a soccer field would start on the right side, it would be, I mean, that's enough space to put a full field. So,
Okay.
but yeah, if it's something that we want to pursue, I mean, obviously it's going to take capital in order to do it.
I think eventually we have to pursue something, right? We
Yeah.
have to establish something to try to get money coming in, because whatever we decide to do, it's gonna cost money up front. It's just the bottom line. So we need to decide, yes, we're doing it.
Excuse me, you're right, but the advantage of this is that it'll generate the
Yes.
revenue to pay back.
Yes,
And,
yes.
and a lot of the other things may not
Yep.
necessarily do so.
And I think we're at that point where we need to have something in place so we can do that, to make money for the parks.
Should also be able to draw in other people from other communities, so that way they look into Harbor and say, oh, wow, this is a really nice town, and just, you know, look at the amenities.
I mean, if the payoff is 3 years, that really isn't a long time to get paid off or something like that, then you're making money. I don't think that's bad. I don't know, 3-4 years?
Yeah, I mean, what is it, referees are $10,000, you figured?
Yeah, they're about 50 an hour, and for a full-size men's game, you need 3 per field.
So you take that 48 grand and you chop off 10, that makes 38, then you figure out prize money. I don't know how much prize money you're gonna give out. First, I mean, that you all have to figure out, but in the end, you're going to make, if you sell,
More 6 or 8 year
yeah,
ROI.
but still, that's fine if you're,
It's not bad.
if you're
No,
denting
it's
it
not bad
every
at all.
year, yeah, absolutely.
If you had alcohol sales, it'll be.
Oh, yeah, way
Yeah.
less.
And then the other thing to take into consideration is if you put that much capital into it, do you want just anybody playing on it at any time? You know, because obviously it's grass, it's not turf, it still wears and tears. They have grass blends now that are hardier to it. But I mean, that area is used a lot. And the scars on that area where there's dirt rubbed or where the grass is gone is testament to that. To where it's, I mean, there's gonna be, like anything, if you want it to stay nice, you gotta keep it nice. There's always gonna be money that has to be added into it, whether it's fertilizer or, you know, whatever it might be. There's still a running cost.
Maintenance involved.
There's still a running cost
Yeah.
with maintenance in
We
order
wanna
to
keep it
keep it the
nice.
way that we want it.
Agreed. Okay,
We can get the city council to approve the initial investment, then I think we ought to consider it and try to move forward.
Possibly 2025, maybe,
yeah,
I think that's realistic.
Tournament?
Yeah.
first tournament.
and maybe we, you know,
With putting out a good product, yeah.
to lower the cost, maybe we rent the junior soccer equipment and you only have to buy half to begin with and then buy our own eventually. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, and it gives them some income as well, supporting them. Okay. All right, any other questions? All right, recreational center survey update.
So, in your packet, current responses as of October 13th.
How many total have we gotten?
350-ish?
342.
The survey was available in Spanish, wasn't it?
It was,
Okay. at
It
least that
is.
means-
or it is, yes. That is the one, we've received 10 responses in Spanish. I did not get time to translate those into English for this meeting, so there are 10 additional responses that are not in that survey. I can send those out to you. They'll just be in Spanish. But, so I had a conversation with the mayor. We're gonna let it run for another month, hoping to get the, more participation from the youth community as well as our Hispanic residents. I did reach out to the Men's Soccer League on Friday and today to see if they could share the post on their Facebook page as well. I have yet to hear back from them. I did create a QR code, both in English and in Spanish, that will take users directly to the survey. Those are available at the front desk at City Hall, as well as a bunch of copies of that QR code are available at the library. And then we did get it on the website. So was in the Google Drive, but it wasn't a direct link to it. So we made a little button on there. So. A lot of info.
So we got another month. We'll run this and then, you know, we can discuss it later. Yeah, just keep running it. All right.
Yeah, I think I asked Ryan to extend it because we have about the same amount of responses we did last time, but
Yeah.
really would like to see, I'd love if we could get like 1,000 respondents. So we're going to try push to get other groups if they would share within their groups to try and get people to respond.
Noting from Lisa's email, Ryan, she did ask, can you reach out to Dave Zinnan and ask him if they can tell us how many Harvard residents?
Good.
70 within 60033.
Okay. That's actually a pretty big number, in my opinion.
70, now that's within the zip code, not necessarily the city of
Yeah,
Harvard corporate limits.
What do they charge?
70 what?
70 residents who live within the 6033 zip code are members of the Woodstock Recreational Center.
Do we know what they charge? And if they charge more for residents out of town?
It is more.
They do, I don't know those figures.
Okay, no, I'm just curious. I can reach out to Dave too. I mean, he knows me. See him every couple of years. All right. Pool feedback survey.
So this is a survey that we did, where's it at? It's in your packet as
Yep.
well. That ran from August 21st through September 29th. It's always good to have feedback. I think we're doing a lot of things right, and there's always areas that we can improve. you want me to go through the whole thing, or do you want to just? It's about 30.
Well, you can highlight whatever you, how many
30
people?
30-some, 31, 32 responses on this one, I believe.
How was this survey published?
Facebook, constant contact.
I don't remember seeing it.
Kind of the overall experience, as you can see on the, it'd be what, the third page, additional feedback. We get it every year that people want to bring in their own outside food. The response is always, well, Woodstock does it. That's how we
That's how we make money.
make money and keep the cost down.
Yeah.
Do we make a lot of it? No.
But it helps offset the expense.
Yeah.
Because the pool does not generate a, it's a net negative loss.
Sales just
They just help.
diminish that a little bit.
Yes, diminish it, yes.
Yeah, I mean, we're doing a lot of things really, really well. There's, based off of this, there's, one pretty upset person.
We have a shower issue,
We've had a shower issue for
Okay.
years.
years.
Since before I even got here.
Yeah.
The problem is everything's in brick walls.
Yeah.
And trying to figure out the system, and, we don't have any as-bills for it, so we're slowly learning where everything's at. As stuff really, really breaks, then it becomes a big issue. The pool, the showers and the sinks, it's all on a mixing system, so we can get the temperature as close, but, I mean, it's far from perfect, that's for sure. Obviously, staff is good. I mean, the temperature of the pool and the quality, I'd say excellent and good. Like I said, we're doing a lot of things right. There's always room for improvement. But yeah, I'm happy overall.
So someone wanted to be open from 8 in the morning till 9 o'clock at night.
That's the things we hear every single year. That I want swim lessons at,
Here's
6 o'clock. Well, that's when we're operating.
Here's an interesting comment that was left. It might be nice to have a premium pool membership that includes all the programs too. Might be something.
Or you give those things to people that have memberships, right? You say,
You open it to the members first.
right, like we did this year, right?
Well, swim lessons wasn't open to the or it was open to everyone,
Yeah.
That might be a way to, pool pass members get,
Something to encourage people to get
Yeah.
memberships.
for 2 days, it's closed to, the general public. It's only pool pass holders that can register.
Yeah.
One of the things that the board might consider is for any use of the pool, other than a daily pass, that they must become a member. Drives up your membership and increases your revenue.
You mean for like swim lessons or?
Yes.
Anything, just
If you're
general.
gonna be if you're gonna get swim lessons, you must have a season pass.
I think that Scott just said that, so I think that's a good idea.
Something to think about for next year.
When do you want,
See how that would work, because the downside with doing it that way is, let's say you've got, 800 members. Well, if 700 of them want swim lessons, I could see them being like, well, you said it's included in my membership. There's just no
But a
possible.
premium membership,
You know.
an extra level.
Yeah, but even if you get 500 or 300,
Yeah.
We don't
How many
have enough
members do we
time
have
in a
this year?
day.
we had like 369?
30-something,
Yeah.
There's
Why
not enough
not? I
time
mean-
in the day to do, this year we had swim lessons and it was
Sure.
for 32.
Yeah.
And that's all that we could run between our normal maintenance of the pool, swim lessons, water aerobics, open lap swim, all the other
Yeah.
stuff that we had going on. We actually even ran some pool parties in the morning because, they were booked up on that that evening. So we just opened the pool beforehand, so.
I mean, how many free days do we do?
4.
4? Or 3?
June, July, August.
Yeah, 3.
Yeah, 3.
I mean, maybe you have a member day, right? 1 day a month for members, and then do,
Isn't every day a member day, though?
well, I mean, members only,
Well, that's the first hour of every day.
yeah.
That was one of the things we added this year. And that was actually really,
Positive feedback on that too in the survey.
that was really well received. A lot of the
Yeah.
people that had pool passes really enjoyed that. Started at noon, so they had from noon to 1, it was pool pass holders only.
Most public pools don't open till noon or 1 because they have lessons in the morning and they, I mean,
Well, there are some that, like, I think Woodstock opens earlier. I think they open at like 10.
wow.
But they have 2 pools.
But they have 2 pools.
Exactly.
You
Yeah.
have one pool for lessons and another pool for recreation.
Mhm.
I like the fact that we were able to do lessons this year. How were they received? People happy with, yeah.
Yeah.
It was limited, but,
Yeah, and it's limited from not just our side of things, but from the instructor side of things as well, so.
Okay. Any other questions for Ryan? All right. Financial report.
In your packet, that's, what would you like me to go over? This is the first time we're having it in here.
Oh, it's from Deb.
I just found it helpful to have this when
Yeah.
we start talking about, additional programs or expenditures. It gets a little confusing, though. Having been on city council, I do understand that this is 5 months' worth.
Yeah.
And the revenue side, at least for the property taxes, is pretty much all of it by now, I imagine. You've received most all of the property tax revenue by now, right, Mayor?
Correct.
Yeah. So that's not gonna go up much. And if I'm not mistaken, some of the pool expenses are not, the pool expenses for this season are not really shown on here because they were expended before May 1st, right?
Some of them, yes, some of them, no.
Okay.
Like, there's still some expenditures on here, because we still have stuff to do up there.
Okay.
That's winter projects, as
Yeah.
well as, if we get it early spring, we can be up there working in April before our fiscal year ends.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
There's always something to do up there.
No,
Never short
really?
of work. Never short of work.
Hole in the ground you throw money into.
Okay. Any questions? Vandalism report.
The report.
Nothing. Did we get reimbursed for the damage in Milky Way or no? For the,
I think
slides and
nothing-
stuff?
Nothing yet.
okay,
That'll be a court decision.
okay.
Like, they haven't even finalized the one yet from the broken windows. The pool. That one's still ongoing.
Last year, didn't it? Oh my gosh.
Mayor's report.
The only thing I have to report is that Ryan's been very busy working on programming for next year. One of the things that we would like to see is eventually a catalog of events that programs that we're going to have, and we'd like to get to a point where we can put out a newsletter a quarter before so that people can plan and sign up. And then as the new course over, let's assume for summer activities, the newsletter with all the programs catalog would come out in spring and people sign up for it. And then in summer, the fall session would come out, and so we're always a quarter ahead. So that's the plan. That's the direction that we're going. And I know Ryan has been putting together a pretty big list of programming that we've not really had before. So looking forward to, doing more of the recreational part of our Parks and Recreation Department and trying to make it a more robust department and provide some additional programming for our community. That's pretty much all I have.
When are we gonna start looking at hiring an assistant parks superintendent?
Well, I think we need to generate some revenue in order to pay for that. So part of that is creating programming that can generate some revenue to get to that point.
Superintendent Knopf's report.
I think we've touched on pretty much everything, whether it be on one of the bullet points that I highlighted. Just kind of a full overview of what we've done, just on Facebook alone last month. 17 different posts, variety of content, 28 days, reached just shy of, or a little over 63,000 people, 1,900 page visits, almost 5,900 post engagements. We're getting a lot of traction on a lot of stuff from the views side of things. Sign-ups are slow, but we'll get there.
Gotta get those young guards doing TikToks and stuff for you like that at the pool. Right? All right. Any questions for Ryan? Park Foundation's report. Scott, what do you got?
Nothing really to report. We're still working on what our event's gonna be for next year. I have had some conversations with Colin Stewart, who owns Offset System Service across the street from my shop. He's a guy you've probably seen, his big truck working class.
Yeah.
Around, big purple truck.
It's got the horses on it, right?
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
actually retiring that truck.
I did a story on that like years ago.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It is. But he had an idea. He was talking to, I guess, Mark Stricker, and he started talking to Laura Evers and myself. I've got a deal going with him, so I talk to him pretty regularly now, about bringing a truck show to Harvard. That's going to be more than a year away. He says in order to put that together, it's going to take more than a year. So that's probably looking at maybe 2025. But he did mention a couple other truck shows around that get really, really big and draw in a lot of people. So we're going to start having a little more detailed conversation with him shortly. He's out of town a lot of the time. In fact, he's been out of town since, I think, Thursday, hauling buildings all over the country.
Okay. Any questions for Scott? All right, seeing none, new business. Is there any new business at all? All right. Next meeting will be November 20th.
And you should be prepared for next meeting. We're looking at budgets.
That budget, yeah.
Because it's that time.
Yeah, it'll be right before Thanksgiving, right?
What's that?
Because we got an early meeting, I think, in December with Christmas.
Yeah, we always do the second.
So,
Okay. All right, seeing none, motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Scott?
Second.
Thank you, Lori. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Moving on. 49 minutes. Look at that. Good job, a lot of information.